Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you all have subscribed to the channel. So today we will be discussing the mirror stage as a formative of the eye as revealed in the psychoanalytic experience by Jacques Lacan. So let's imagine you're looking into a mirror for the very first time. You see someone who looks exactly like you. Your eyes, your smile, your movements are all reflected back. Now let's imagine you are standing in front of a mirror and you see your whole body. This whole body shape is called the gestalt, which means the total picture of how you look. Even if you are small and not fully grown, this image in the mirror helps you imagine what you might look like when you grow up and become stronger or better at doing things. But here's the tricky part. This image you see, it's outside of you, and it looks calm and complete even if inside you feel messy and wobbly. What does the gestalt do? The gestalt is like a mental snapshot of who you are. It helps you keep a picture of yourself in your mind even when you grow older or change, but sometimes this picture of yourself might feel like a little alien, like it's not perfectly you, which is why Lacan says it's a bit like a statue or a dream image. Your reflection in the mirror isn't just about what you look like, it's also a way your mind builds a picture of your whole self. This image or imago can pop up in your dreams or even in your imagination. This might include parts of how you feel a bit off, like things you wish could fix or change. Mirrors even have a special role in showing doubles or creating illusions, which can make us think about the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Let's take some examples from the nature. Animals can also use mirrors in interesting ways. For example, female pigeons need to see another pigeon to grow up fully, but even their own mirror reflection can help. Locusts, which are usually quiet and live alone, can turn into big noisy groups when they see others like themselves, even if it's just a moving reflection. These examples show how seeing yourself or something similar to you can trigger changes or growth. Now, next is finding similarities and differences. There are two ways animals and people see things. First is homeomorphic identification. When you see something that looks similar to you, like your reflection in the mirror. Heteromorphic identification, that is the second one, is when you see something that looks different but still feels connected to you in some way, like how some animals mimic their surroundings to stay safe. These ideas help us understand how living creatures, including humans, make sense of space and beauty. A scientist named Roger Kalois had a cool thought about animals that copy their surroundings, like how some bugs blend in with their leaves. He called it legendary psychasthenia, which is a fancy way of saying that they might feel so obsessed with their space that they lose track of what's real and what's not. So, in conclusion, the gestalt is about how your mind creates a picture of who you are based on what you see in the mirror, how you dream, and even how animals around you behave. It's like a magical connection between how you see yourself, how you grow, and how you fit into the world. Now, let's see how human versus animals learn. Humans and animals both learn about the world, but humans are different because we have more freedom in how we think and grow. Even though our brains can do amazing things, the surrealist, a group of creative thinkers, believe that human knowledge is still limited. It only captures a small part of a big reality around us. The mirror stage, a special moment. The mirror stage is when a baby starts to recognize itself in the mirror. like earlier discussed. This is super important because it helps baby figure out who they are. It connects the baby's inside world, how they feel and think, with the outside world, everything they see and interact with. So, why human feels unfinished at birth? When humans are born, they are not as ready for the world as some animals. For example, babies can't walk or control their movements well. Their brains and bodies are still growing and learning to work together. This is called organic insufficiency, which is a fancy way of saying humans are born before they are fully prepared for the life. Scientists even call this fertilization. It means babies keep growing and developing even after they're born, especially their brains. How we grow and change over time. As babies grow, they go through a journey. At first, they might feel like their body is in pieces because they can't control their movements very well. Later, they start to see their body as a whole and complete, like what they see in a mirror. Finally, when they realize their self is also shaped by how other people see them, this creates an identity, which is how they think about who they are. But this identity can sometimes feel strange or not quite right. This growing process is like a story that unfolds over time. It's dramatic and full of imagination, helping a person move from feeling incomplete to a feeling more whole. The inside and the outside are two worlds. Humans are always balancing their inside worlds, their thoughts and feelings, with their outside world, the people, the places, and the things around them. This balance helps us figure out who we are step by step, but we are always checking and rechecking. Is this really me? Do I fit into the world? So, in simple words, when a baby sees itself in the mirror for the first time, it's like saying, "That's me." This moment is the start of a long journey where they figure out how their body, thought, and feelings work together with the world around them. Humans are born feeling a little unfinished, but over time they grow and build an idea of who they are by learning from their inside and outside worlds. Now, there's a term, the fragmented body, that is discussed in this text. Let's see what does it mean. Imagine a person having a dream where their body looks strange, like their arms, legs, or even their head are all in different places or seems like to grow wings and carry weapons. This is called fragmented body. It's like their body is broken into pieces, and these pieces sometimes seem alive of their own, doing things without the person controlling them. It's similar to a weird and wild painting of 15th century artist named Hieronymus Bosch. This is the person who drew things like flying body parts and other fantastical dreamlike images. So you might ask, why does this happen? The fragmented body shows up in dreams when a person feels like things are falling apart inside them. Maybe they are really stressed, scared, or confused. It's a way for their mind to show these feelings in a picture during sleep. In real life, sometimes this idea of fragmented body also shows up in a way a person's body reacts to emotions. They might feel shaky, have spasms, or seem very tense, like their feelings are too big for their body to handle. In dreams, your mind tells stories about who you are. Sometimes it uses pictures like castles and stadiums to show yourself. These castles and stadiums might be divided into different sections, like two teams on a field or a different rooms in a fortress. This represents the battles inside you, where you are trying to figure out your feelings and thoughts. The castle inside you could even represent your ID, the part of your mind with big feelings and desires. Dreams turn these ideas into stories and symbols. Do you know how the mind builds defenses? Imagine your mind builds walls and fortresses like a castle to protect itself. These are called defenses, and they help you deal with difficult feelings like sadness, anger, or fear. But sometimes these defenses can get very complicated and cause problems, like flipping ideas upside down, inversion, shutting things out, isolation, repeating thoughts over and over, reduplication, erasing something in your mind, cancellation, or moving feelings and something else, displacement. These are ways your mind tries to stay safe, but they can also make things more confusing. So, as people grow, they go through different stages. Some of them uh, we will discuss, like feeling overwhelmed, like hysterical repression is one of the first stages. Then they might start flipping or twisting ideas to deal with things, that is obsessional inversion. Eventually, they might feel disconnected from reality, like their mirror image doesn't match who they are inside. That's a term called paranoid alienation. The mirror stages end. At the end of the mirror stage, the person start to understand themselves by comparing themselves to others. This can lead to feeling like jealousy, but it also helps them learn how they fit into the world and connect with other people. So, in simple words, the fragmented body shows up in dreams when someone feels like their world is falling apart. It's like a symbol of their inner struggles, how their mind works to protect them. Over time, people grow and build their sense of self, learning to balance their feelings and thoughts and relationships with others. It's like putting together pieces of puzzles to see the whole picture of who they are. There's a point in life when humans starts understanding the world not just by themselves but by seeing what other people want and feel. Imagine you're playing with toys and suddenly you notice that someone else wants the same toy. This changes how you think about the toy. It's not just about you anymore. It's about what other people wants too. This idea is called the desire of the other. Help people learn to work together, but it also makes us realize how we can feel vulnerable. When we are little, we start by loving ourselves a lot. This is called primary narcissism. It's like looking in a mirror and thinking, wow, I'm amazing. But as we grow, this love gets mixed with another kind of energy called libido, which is all about connecting with others in different ways. Sometimes these two energies don't get along, and it can make us feel frustrated or even aggressive, even when we are trying to be kind or help someone. People who study the mind notice that the I, your sense of self, can feel pulled in different directions. There's a part of you that loves yourself, narcissistic libido, and there's another part that wants to connect with others, that is the sexual libido. These two parts can clash, and sometimes it feels like a tug of war inside you. That's why people can feel upset or angry even when they're trying to be nice. Some really smart thinkers notice that people sometimes feel trapped, like they're stuck in a box. Even when they're free, they might not know what to do with that freedom. This idea is called existential negativity, and it's like asking what's the point of everything. Some examples of these feelings might be feeling like free but still stuck, like being in a room with open doors but not knowing which way to go. Thinking relationships will make you happy but they don't always work out. Wondering if big actions like taking risks are worth it. Realizing that what other people think of you can feel really important sometimes too, and sometimes extremely important. Society or the world around us doesn't always help. It often says just focus on what's useful. But that's not enough for people who want to feel meaning in their lives. Some people turn into existentialism, which is a way of thinking about life that tries to make sense of these feelings. It looks hard questions like freedom, love, and even sadness, but it doesn't always give easy answers. So, in simple words, as we grow, we learn not just from what we want, but also from what others want. This helps us connect with people, but it also makes us feel vulnerable and sometimes confused. We love ourselves and others in different ways, but those feelings can clash. Big question about life, freedom, and meaning can feel heavy, and society doesn't always give good answers. It's like being on a journey to figure out who you are while balancing what we want and what others expect. Now, let's imagine for the last time for this text, looking in the mirror and thinking, that's exactly who I am. But what if that picture wasn't the full story? This idea is called reconnaissance or misrecognition. It's when we think we know ourselves, but there's more going on inside that we don't understand. The text says that instead of thinking the ego or the I is based on logic and reality, we should start by realizing the ego is full of misunderstandings about itself. One example of this misunderstanding is denial. Denial happens when someone refuses to admit something is true, even if deep down they know it. This is a clear sign of how the ego tries to protect itself, but it doesn't always let us see the whole picture. Sometimes these hidden truths stay buried until other parts of the mind, like the ID, our inner desires and feelings, bring them to life. The ego sometimes gets stuck in the same patterns. This can cause problems like neurosis, where someone feels anxious or overwhelmed because they can't break out of those patterns. The text says this stuckness helps explain not just the mental health struggles but also the chaos we see in the world. Madness isn't just something that happens in hospitals, it can happen when people or even whole societies lose their balance. Struggles like neurosis or psychosis, more serious mental health issues, teach us about big feelings or of what the text calls the passion of the soul. These experiences can feel painful, but they also help us understand human emotions better. Psychoanalysis uses tools to study these feelings and how they affect communities, showing how societies can sometimes lose its sense of passion and energy. The text talks about how humans live between nature, the things we are born with, and the culture, the things we learn from the world. But only psychoanalysis points out something tricky. We are often trapped in imaginary ideas about who we are and what we love. Love can help free us from this trap, but it's not always simple. Even kind actions like helping others and teaching can have hidden feelings of aggression and selfishness underneath. Psychoanalysis helps people learn more about themselves and their true feelings. This can guide them to a moment where they think, this is who I really am. But here's the catch, even psychoanalysts can take someone all the way on their journey. The final steps, the discovering of their purpose and what lies ahead, is something each person has to figure out for themselves. So, in simple words, this text says we don't fully understand ourselves because our ego can trick us. Denial and getting stuck in patterns can cause problems, not just for individuals but for the society. Love and kindness are powerful, but they can hide other feelings too. Psychoanalysis help us uncover these hidden parts of ourselves, but the journey to truly becoming you is something only you can finish. It's like being on a big adventure to discover who you really are. So, this has concluded our text for today. I hope you guys understood the basic concept of this text that Jacques Lacan tried to argue and make us understand. So, if you guys need the detailed notes for this for your examinations, I do have PDF and document versions of it. You can DM me on Instagram at Vidya Edu and I can give you those. So please do subscribe for future videos and see you next time.